Are you looking for the best computer speakers? In this video, we will look at some of the 5 best computer speakers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Pioneer DJ-DM 50D BT. The Pioneer DJ-DM 50D BT set combines sound quality approaching that of professional monitors with the convenience and low cost of a home system. It offers compact size, a variety of inputs, and many convenient features. It sounds good enough to use for serious audio production. A switch on the left speaker's back selects production or DJ mode. The DJ mode boosts the bass, which we thought made the system sound better with hip-hop, heavy pop, R&B, and movies. We preferred the more natural sound of the production mode for jazz and classical, as well as for audio production. In fact, the production mode put out the most neutral, accurate sound we've heard from a consumer-level computer speaker system, making it great for audio production and entertainment alike. In our tests, through most of the audio range, its response was nearly as smooth and natural as that of the larger, more expensive JBL Professional 305p MKII monitor. I used the DM50D BT system several times for editing my podcast, as well as for mixing original bumper music for it. I found the results similar to what I achieved using the 305p MKII, so I'd be comfortable using this set for serious production, with one caveat we'll discuss below. It has plenty of inputs. Besides built-in Bluetooth support, the DM50D BT has 3 types of analog inputs on the back of the left speaker to accommodate a variety of sources. These inputs are always live, so you have no way to switch among them. If you have sources playing on multiple inputs, you'll hear them all simultaneously. This is common on computer speakers. The system also has a signal sensing feature, which powers it up automatically when it receives a signal from one of your source devices. Thanks to this feature, if you connect an Amazon Echo Dot, the DM50D BT will work much like an Alexa speaker, except that it will cut off the first couple of seconds of Alexa's response, which is potentially annoying if you're asking Alexa for information, such as what time it is. This set includes several features that are convenient for desktop use. The left speaker has a front volume knob that shuts off the power when you turn it fully counterclockwise. Also present is a front headphone jack that shuts off the speaker's output. Number 2. Creative Pebble Pro. If you don't want to get into a 3-figure purchase, the Creative Pebble Pro set is your best bet. These grapefruit-sized globes require very little space on a desktop, but they sound much clearer and play much louder than the speakers built into laptops. Their angled design points the sound right at your ears and provides convenient access to the front-mounted controls. This set comes with a lot of helpful connections, too. For the price, this system sounds excellent, although it can't play deep bass. The Pebble Pro pair was our clear favorite in the mid-2 figures price range. Voices and most instruments sounded clear, without the boominess, harshness, and distortion we heard from many other affordable models. The speakers didn't produce as spacious a sound as our other picks did, but we still got a nice stereo effect with them flanking a laptop while we were working. This system falls short on bass because the speaker drivers measure only about 2 inches in diameter. In our tests, this set's average bass output from 40 Hz to 63 Hz was just 77.1 dB, similar to the faint rumble of a car passing by outside. Still, these creative speakers somehow managed to produce a full sound, and they didn't distort or boom when we played bass-intensive tunes like Audrey Nuna's "Damn Right" video. In our frequency response measurements, the Pebble Pro system produced a flatter response in the human vocal range than any of our other picks. However, outside of that range, its response was uneven. It sounded better with more treble-focused music, which is okay for folk music and light classical, but hip-hop and rock fans are likely to want something with more bottom-end oomph. Number 3. JBL Professional 305p MKII. The JBL Professional 305p MKII monitor is the best value for aspiring or professional music and video producers, or for audiophiles who demand clear, full-range sound. Its sound quality was the best overall of the speakers we tested, but it's too large for many desktops, and it lacks Bluetooth support and the other convenience features that many people want. Content creators will appreciate its nearly perfect performance. The 305p MKII offers perhaps the clearest, most natural sound we've heard from a powered speaker under $300. The less expensive computer speakers we tried sounded a bit sibilant in comparison. Our panelists also praised the 305P MKII's big, spacious sound, something not easily achieved in a desktop environment. In addition, it delivered an almost perfectly flat response in our measurements. I mixed a recent album using a pair of 305P MKII units, and the veteran engineer who mastered it made only subtle equalization changes. This suggests that my monitoring system was doing its job properly. Some listeners are likely to want more bass. The 305P MKII can't match the bass performance of larger, more expensive Pro models such as the JBL Professional 306P MKII and the Kali Audio LP 6V2. With average mid-bass output of 107.3 dB, measured with a pair of speakers, the 305P MKII fell 5 and 5.8 decibels short, respectively, of the output of those larger speakers, and it even fell 3.9 decibels short of our top pick, the Pioneer DJ-DM 50D BT set. If you're producing or listening to R&B, hip-hop, or heavy rock, you're likely to prefer a monitor with more bass. Otherwise, you'd probably find yourself cranking up the bass too much in the mix to make up for this speaker's weak bottom end. Number 4. PreSonus Ares 3.5 BT Gen 2. If your desktop is limited on space or your wallet is limited on funds, the PreSonus Ares 3.5 BT Gen 2 pair is smaller and more affordable than our top pick, but still gets you most of the way toward pro-quality sound. All it really lacks is bass. It's only half the size by volume as the Pioneer DJ-DM 50D BT set, but it has an even better array of features. Although its small size prevents it from playing deep bass, its mid-range and treble clarity won us over. It sounds great but has a few flaws. Our listeners said that the Ares 3.5 BT Gen 2 was clearly the best-sounding small monitor speaker we tested. The best part was that the mid-range and treble sounded remarkably clear for such an inexpensive speaker pair. For casual music listening at the desktop, we loved it, and it's good enough for podcast editing and other non-critical production tasks. With typical music recordings, the little 3.5-inch woofers produced a satisfyingly full sound. When we played Audrey Nuna's bass-intensive Damn Right at high volume, the speakers distorted, but they didn't suffer from the horrific, chuffing sounds and rattles that most similarly small speakers gave us. In our measurements, this system boosted high frequencies quite a bit, but once we turned the treble control down by 3 decibels, it produced a reasonably flat response. Its measured average bass output was weak at just 93.7 dB, 17.5 decibels less than what we got from the DM 50D BT. We also noticed some distortion in the mid-range and treble when we turned up the volume all the way while mixing saxophone parts for a jazz recording. If you need a system that plays louder and can reproduce deeper bass notes, you have to step up to a larger, more expensive system. Number 5. Creative Pebble X Plus. The Creative Pebble X Plus set is ideal if you want extra bass when you're playing games or watching movies but don't have the desk space for large speakers. This system's tiny subwoofer gives it a fuller sound than most small computer speaker systems can muster, and it's just as user-friendly as our budget pick, the Creative Pebble Pro. It's small, but it sounds huge. This system's big, full sound gives it an obvious advantage over Creative's subwoofer-less systems. Every tune we played sounded better, even light acoustic music you might not expect to benefit from a subwoofer. The extra bass made the guitars and voices sound fuller, clearer, and more natural. The subwoofer, a cube measuring slightly more than 6 inches on each side, sounds better than the flimsy plastic subwoofers included in many computer speaker systems. When we played bass-intensive tunes such as Audrey Nuna's Damn Right, the bass notes weren't as well defined as they would be with a high-quality subwoofer, but the bass sounded powerful and didn't distort, and it blended well with the sound of the main speakers. The system offers no level control for the subwoofer, but we found that we could adjust the level by moving the sub closer to the wall for more bass or away from the wall for less. Though the Pebble X Plus set can get its power from a computer's USB connection, in our tests it sounded better when powered by a 30-watt adapter. Without the adapter, the sound distorted subtly at loud volumes, and the bass was weaker. The measured frequency response was fairly flat through most of the audio range. The subwoofer's response was deep enough to handle the lowest note on a standard electric bass, although the measured output was only a few decibels better than what we measured on our budget pick, averaging 80.4 dB from 40 Hz to 63 Hz. Still, played at the moderate volumes typical for desktop use, The Pebble X Plus had a bigger, fuller sound than its measurements suggested.